So I was wondering, Craig, when you're having a spiritual conversation with someone,
Yeah.
whether it's a friend, out on the streets, whatever, how do you actually present the gospel to someone?
I use the story of Zacchaeus to show how just simply by becoming friends with Jesus, you want to change your entire life without having any behavioral kind of program or anything. Zacchaeus' life changed the moment Jesus welcomed him. And so, for example, I was in what for me is a bit of an extreme situation. Woke up one morning with a distinct impression of the Rangeview pharmacy. And when I woke up and thought about it, I had the impression 1 p.m. And so when I kind of came to in the morning, looked at my diary, fortunately I had a meeting on. And so I thought, well, I get out of that one because that would have been right on the edge, you know. Anyway, by 10 o'clock, the meeting's been cancelled. And I realised the Lord's requiring of something of me, you know. So I get parked outside the Rangeview pharmacy at 5 to 1. And at 1 o'clock, a guy comes out who I know on the dot of 1 o'clock. So I bail him up, explain a bit of the situation. And then I think, I'm not quite sure what to say here. And so I was able to have one of those fallbacks there. And I was just able to say, have you heard, do you know much about Jesus? And he didn't, but he was open to the conversation. And so I was able to tell him that story of Zacchaeus, how Jesus doesn't judge us for those things that aren't quite right in our life. However, knowing him makes that change, you know. So it was a great conversation, but if I hadn't known how to share the gospel through a story and in a natural way, then it would have been too preachy, and I don't think it would have gone anywhere.
Yep.
What about you?
I actually tend to wing it.
Yeah.
I don't really have a method that I stick to. So I actually like to get people like yourself and others who have a bit more formula to it to share and equip others so that it's able to be replicated and taught on.
Yeah, sure.
And develops and grows and multiplies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what I do in training is I help people to I help them to practice both of those stories, welcoming Father and Zacchaeus, and do that in a way where they're comfortable with it so they can share it and be prepared for those unusual situations where all of a sudden we're in a spiritual conversation, we need to share something about Jesus. I think the other thing we've realized recently is, you know, our focus needs to be far beyond just helping to sell someone a ticket to heaven, where salvation is something that's, you know, decades away, and help them actually discover heaven coming inside of them.
Yeah. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is right in front of you.
Yeah.
And it's not that we need to try and convince people of something, we just need them to turn towards it.
Yeah, sure. So I think for me, the story-based approach actually helps introduce who Jesus is. And who Jesus is includes forgiving those wrong things that we've done, but is bigger than that. And the gospel of the kingdom includes redemption of the whole of our lives and includes the restoration of this earth and all those good things that actually people are craving for. So I think that's another way that I've been helped to partner with what God's already wanting to do in people's lives.
Cool.
I'd love to hear what Nath has to say.
We're almost there.
Almost there. What about
if
this
we weren't
traffic?
stuck in traffic.
I was in year 8 at the time, 14 years old, and I was invited along to a local youth group. I thought, oh yeah, that sounds like a bit of fun. So went along. First couple of weeks there wasn't too much stuff happening, but they had a conference up in Canberra, which was kind of nationwide with a particular denomination. I thought, oh, I don't really want to go, but there were some people from the church that had supported me to go, $50 each. So Mum was like, you're definitely going, like most of the cost is covered. So I went along. Went up to Canberra, had no idea what to expect. My church background was Catholic, so very traditional and all that sort of thing. But I got there, and I remember walking into the first session, and there was worship on at the time. There were electric guitars on stage.